got to grow government at home if you're gonna invest in our national defense. This ended that. I mean, in a very real sense, this was a changer because we're just back to putting the safety, security, and the national defense of the American people first. And I think it sends, having just traveled around the American Pacific representing the president over the last couple of weeks, I think this sends a distinctive message to the world that under President Trump's leadership, we're going to make the strongest military in history even stronger. Limbaughs then said, if I'm the Democrats, $21 billion and $15 billion for our defense that was not originally authorized, that's a small price to pay for continuing to fund refugee resettlement, continuing to fund Planned Parenthood, continuing to fund sanctuary cities, continuing to fund the EPA, and not build the wall. The Democrats clearly think that this is a big win, and that's confident they can block Trump's agenda after this spending bill for the rest of Trump's term. This isn't anything of the president's agenda in this budget, and people are beginning to ask, when's that going to happen? If you're going to shut it down in September, why not now? Pence said, yeah. Limbaugh, if you complain about 60 votes today, why not go budget reconciliation for 51 votes and smoke them? Pence said, Rush. Limbaughs said, yes, Pence. Rush, let me be real clear. The number one priority of President Trump is to rebuild our military, to restore the arsenal of democracy. And I got to tell you, to get Democrats in Washington, D.C. to agree to a $21 billion increase in a short-term budget bill, and the president's calling the largest increase in military spending since the Reagan administration in the upcoming budget. So I think it's no small accomplishment. That's the end of that article. That's an article, or that's an interview that I would really like to hear. Let me see if I can find that right real quick like for y'all. I'm looking here and having a time. Give me just a second. But what about that? It sounded like he had the vice president not knowing what to say. He made some really good points there. I'm proud of Rush on so many sides of this. Not many people are gonna ask a vice president something so controversial like that. I can't wait to hear the rest of that interview. So give me just a moment. I could have played y'all a song, but I didn't exactly have one ready. So I apologize for that.
Investing. It's not for everyone, right?
By the way,
We have for just a few moments with us the vice presidential nominee, the governor
just found it.
Indiana, Mike Pence, on the phone with us. Governor, welcome and great to have you back.
Thank you, Rush. Good to be with you. Mason City, Iowa.
Mason City, Iowa. You know, Governor, I know you're going to be gone by 2:15, so when 2:15 hits, I want to let you know, because I know you've got to run, but I want to run a couple things by you here. President Obama is funding terrorism, i.e. with Iran, to the tune now maybe $33 billion, leaving our borders unprotected. We are importing unvetted refugees, and the Democrat nominee wants to increase the number. I never would have thought that to be part of the responsibilities and obligations of an American commander-in-chief, but I also never would have thought that we would have had a candidate like Mrs. Clinton endorsing all of that. We have bombing attacks, we have stabbings, and immediately Donald Trump becomes the target and the blame for it. How are you all reacting to this today?
Well, it just is extraordinary. First I would just say, how our hearts do go out and our prayers to people that are recovering from injuries from Minnesota to New York, and also how grateful we are for the brave first responders who have moved forward, and even in Linden, New Jersey, within the last few hours apprehended a suspect in the case. So it is truly a miracle that no one lost their life this weekend over the series of terrorist attacks on our shores. But I take your point, Rush, that it is remarkable that while Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama continue to refuse to name our enemy, which is radical Islamic terrorism, that Hillary Clinton used a press conference today to attack my running mate, Donald Trump, saying that, in fact, his rhetoric was, quote, giving comfort to our adversaries, in her words. Well, the only thing that gives comfort to our adversaries is weakness. The only thing that will alarm or put fear in the hearts of our adversaries is the absolute assurance that we will have an American president who will rebuild our military, marshal our resources, rebuild our alliances, and confront and hunt down and destroy those who would bring violence to our citizens or inspire violence here at home.
You know, it's incredible. We have the Benghazi attack, for example, which was clearly a planned terrorism attack. And what do? Blame some hapless guy who made a video that nobody had ever seen. Now we have these events here and San Bernardino, previous events like this, and these same people. Every one of these perpetrators ends up a victim somehow in their world. Well, they're justified. They're discriminated against as Muslims in this horribly racist country. We have got to empathize with them, Hillary once said. That's smart power. Mr. Vice President nominee, they don't seem to be doing anything. They don't seem to be oriented toward solving any of this. None of the actions they want to take or say they're going to take will do anything other than perpetuate this.
Well, I'm not sure that Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama know that we're at war. The White House spokesman today actually said that we were in a, quote, narrative fight, in a narrative battle.
What is that? What is that?
I don't even know what that is. I be honest with you, I was just mystified by it. I know that we've got American military personnel in the region. in Iraq, fighting ISIS on the ground in Syria. I mean, we're at war with the ISIS caliphate that sprang up because Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama precipitously withdrew all American forces from Iraq and created a vacuum of power that ISIS was able to overrun vast territories that our soldiers had won in Operation Iraqi Freedom. And yet from the beginning all the way through yesterday, Hillary Clinton and her running mate, I mean, the president in January 2014 called ISIS the JV team, and yesterday Hillary Clinton's running mate, Senator Tim Kaine, said that we'd, quote, dramatically improved in the battle against ISIS in the last year. That was the morning after a soldier of the Islamic State stabbed 9 Americans in Minnesota in a mall. It just strikes me that the American people see through all of this.
Oh, I think they do. Governor, these people do not. Here's the divide, and this is I think what explains your observations. Obama and Hillary, and dare I say, most of the Democrat Party, they were.
That ain't even the interview people. I apologize so much. I should have caught on to that. That has really, really, really hurt my show. I'm so sorry. I deeply apologize with you all. Let me look here. I'm gonna look some more. Two months, 6 months. 2 months, 1 month. I think it said that was on Tuesday, wasn't it? I sure wish that video right there would play. Anyways. Cats is out there doing what they do in the springtime, and Roscoe is taking a fit at them. Okay, I got it. Now if I could just get some video, some sound. Let's see. It's muted.
Welcome back to the program, the Vice President of the United States, Mike Pence. Welcome back, sir. Great to have you here with us today.
Rush Limbaughs, it is an honor to be with you always. Thanks for having me on.
If this is what happens, Mr. Vice President, why vote Republican? What is the point of voting Republican if the Democrats are going to continue to win practically 95% of their objectives, such as in this last budget deal?
Well, I'd look respectfully, Rush. I actually think this was, as the president said a little while ago, I think this was actually a clear win for the American people. Look, you've had Washington, D.C. that has been paralyzed by gridlock and partisan infighting for many years. And in this new president, you have someone who's able to bring people together and make a $21 billion increase in defense spending at a time of great challenge for America's interests around the world. And he spoke about that today, surrounded by a lot of great members of the United States Air Force. And there was also a piece here for years. Democrats in Washington insisted that any increase in defense spending would be matched with an increase in domestic spending. So you got to grow government at home if you're going to, invest in our national defense. This ended that. I mean, in a very real sense, this was a game changer because we're just back to putting the safety, security, and the national defense of the American people first. And I think it sends, having just traveled around the Asian Pacific representing the president over the last couple of weeks, I think this sends a decisive message to the world that under President Trump's leadership, we're going to make the strongest military in history even stronger.
We'll be right back, folks.